Hola besties, welcome back to my channel. Javell Ashanti here. Today we have my September reading wrap up, which I'm super excited for because I haven't filmed a reading wrap up in a hot minute. Okay, tomorrow's October 1st. We are officially in fall. I decorated my room for fall, so I have a cute little like decorating video coming. Also posted a fall book recommendation, so if you're looking for that, I posted that 3 days ago, so go check that out. I'm really excited to talk about these books because I got some good ones. Okay, and if you haven't subscribed yet, definitely go ahead and subscribe to my channel for more, and let's get into the video. Pull up in the make me say, let me do that shit again. Alright, let's get started. I haven't really been doing a good job at keeping track of the books that I read each month, and so I might be missing a few, but right now I have 8 books that I'm going to talk about today. So first we're going to start with The Dare by Elle Kennedy. I love Elle Kennedy. This is a part of the Bride You series, and I'm not exactly sure what book it falls in the line of, that sequence, because I just always read them out of order, which with her series they can be read as standalones, but this is a hockey romance, which I know is like all the rave right now. Like everyone's like obsessed with hockey romance, especially on Book Talk, and so Elle Kennedy is a really good author to read if you want to read hockey romances. This book is about a girl who's in her sorority, and her sorority sisters are not very nice to her. Also, she suffers from ugly duckling syndrome. It's basically when you used to not be so cute, but now you grew up and now you're still not aware of your own attractiveness, and so that's what she suffers from. So her sorority sisters dared her to hook up with like one of the most popular hockey players on campus, and she basically just goes to him and she tells him like, they're daring me to do this, so at least just pretend, just go with it. And not only does he pretend to let her take him upstairs and pretend they're getting busy, but even after, he agrees to kind of like keep fake dating to make her sorority sisters jealous, because he just loves like messing with people and playing games. And the hardest part of it is her attempting to resist his charm and his good looks. And I love Elle Kennedy's books because they're never like super deep, they're just always like such a fun, spicy read. They also talk a lot about hockey in here, and we know the girls these days, they love a good hockey romance, and so that's what we get from here. I would rate this like a 4.5 stars. Then for some reason this book is all dented up. I'm not sure what I did to it, but next thing I read is Too Late by Colleen Hoover, which this is, I don't even know, this is a psychological suspenseful novel of obsession and dangerous love. It's basically about a girl who's dating a drug dealer, and now she meets this guy who she's kind of hitting it off with basically, and little does she know he's an undercover DEA agent, and his deal is to bust her boyfriend who runs a huge drug ring on campus. And so she's kind of falling in love with him. His goal is to bust her boyfriend, and that's basically what this book is about. This is very different for Colleen Hoover because all her books are like super contemporary romance, which I guess this is also the same, but it just has like a lot of like police talk, I guess. Like I just didn't really care for this story, if I'm being honest. It was good, and at first I was like all over it, but like the ending was just a little bit annoying to me. The female lead character was very annoying, and I just didn't really enjoy, actually I enjoyed like most of it until the end, where I was just like, this is just so stupid. I would rate that a 3-star. Then the next book I read is One of Us is Dead by Geneva Rose. Geneva Rose is the author of The Perfect Marriage, which was super popular earlier this year. So this book is about 5 ladies of Buckhead, Atlanta. They're all like socialites. They love competing with each other in their friend group, and one of the like lead girls in the, or ladies in the friend group, is getting a divorce from her husband. So she's basically losing all her money and power, and now one of the other girls in the group is trying to push her out of their social circle. And while doing this, things go wrong for one of them, and one of them ends up dead, which is so interesting because we love Geneva Rose because she does like a nice little thriller, but also it's like, this kind of reminds me of Pretty Little Liars. Like low-key, like you get the same vibes, like really bitchy girls, they're a little bit crazy, you don't know who to trust, and so that's kind of what we get here. The writing is a little bit silly, but it's also really good, and I finished it, which I had a hard time finishing almost every single book this month. So the fact that I actually finished this, I will give her some credit for. I love Geneva Rose's writing. Some of the characters are just ridiculous and I can't stand them, but it was so good and it was kind of funny. So I rate this like a 4 stars. This book I'm super excited to talk about. It is In the Likely Events of Rebecca Yarros, and she is the author of The Fourth Wing. So I think she's having a very successful year because all her books are kind of just popping off right now. So this book is about a girl and a guy. They both get on a plane. One of them has a fear of flying. One of them has never flown before, and she tells him like the statistics, like a plane either crashes in the first 3 minutes or while landing. In the first, like, actually I think it's like the first 5 minutes. The first 5 minutes after they take off, their plane crashes into the Mississippi River or the Missouri River, and they basically have to help everyone get off the plane. And fast forward, they just keep accidentally running into each other. This is kind of giving, what's that movie from Netflix? The one about the airplane and people going missing. Oh, I can't remember what it's called now, but this kind of gives the same vibes, except not so creepy and crazy. And so Faith just keeps bringing them together over and over. And after that plane crash, both of their life just completely goes into like opposite directions. She becomes a politician and he goes off to the military, except they just keep running into each other over and over, and it's just so crazy, and I loved it. It was just so fun, and I just love the romance in here, and I just love a military romance. I'm gonna be honest, might be a little controversial, but I love a military romance. And the ending, the plot twist in this book, sickening, had me shook. It was good. I love this. 5 stars. Then I finished up my summer reads with The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. This is a YA romance, I guess you could say, or contemporary romance, but this is about a girl whose sister died and now she is on a family vacation, which they usually take every year, but they haven't in a while because her sister died. So now they're back on this family vacation and they're playing a game of assassin, and she's usually not into it, but this year she decides she needs to win this game in name of her, or in honor of her sister, except she meets a guy there. Actually, I think there was a wedding, right? They were there for a wedding, that's what it was. Yeah, and she meets a guy there and she becomes obsessed with him, and now she's kind of losing sight of her priorities. But I love a cute little YA romance, and that's kind of what we get in here. All the summer vibes. I love this, so I would rate it like a 4 star. Also, I read this on vacation, which was really nice. Then I read The Heart Principle by Helen Huang, or Hong. I don't know how to pronounce this. This is about a girl who went viral on YouTube, and now she's stuck trying to recreate that same viral success, but she's having a hard time. She also plays like the violin or the cello, and she just has a really hard time. And then she meets this guy who's like so different from her. Actually, no, she goes on a break with her boyfriend because her boyfriend suggested that they have an open relationship. So she meets this guy and he's like nothing like she's ever met before, and they instantly hit it off, and she's just very different. She's very, I don't want to give this away because it might be a spoiler, but she's just very different. Like, she's just not, I guess you could say, normal, and he just accepts her for who she is, and he like helps her get through so much. And then her father gets sick and she is kind of having to choose between like giving her life up to take care of her dad, and it's just a really cute little romance. And I love reading like romance from minority characters because we don't get to see that very often, so I really like this. I would rate this a 4 stars. Then we're gonna talk about the book that put me in a really bad reading slump, Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. Everyone praises this book on Book Talk, which I'm starting to think the Book Talk girls are wrong sometimes. Okay, I feel like if there's a lot of spice and smut in a book, they get a little distracted and they don't focus on the story and the plot. And that's kind of what I got from this book. Like, I feel like the story just wasn't really giving, and I was very consumed by the spice but not consumed enough. So this book, I did DNF like the last, like, let me see, I stopped at 285 and there's 422 in here. So I did not finish, but I did read a majority. This is about a girl who is a figure skater. Her partner gets hurt and he's no longer able to skate, so she has to team up with this guy who plays hockey, except she hates him because they have to share the ice, and his team is just always stealing her ice time because she is like Olympic bound and she needs all this extra practice time. So she hates this guy that she has to now skate with, except, you know, they have chemistry, there's a lot going on, they're very attracted to each other, and that's kind of what we get in this book. I really like the characters. I feel like the characters were really cute. I liked the story. It just wasn't enough for me to sit here and read it for 422 pages. Like, it just did not give enough. But yeah, it was okay, so I would rate it like 3 stars, but the characters were cute. Last but not least, I will have to say the greatest book I read is The Rebel King by Kennedy Ryan. It is the second book for The Kingmaker by Kennedy Ryan. If you don't listen to any of my recommendations, this series, phenomenal. So this book kind of picks up where the first book left off. Alexan Hunter, she has been kidnapped, and now Maxim, who's her main love interest, is kind of going to get her, and it takes things from one level, because the first book was mostly like contemporary romance. Now we're dealing with like a little thriller moment because she could possibly die. So she gets kidnapped by some guys who are holding her for a ransom for a vaccine. Insane. So Maxim has to go get her. While doing that, somebody ends up dying, and it really just throws Maxim and Lennox's life off, because now everything has changed for them, and now they're being hunted by the sky. And the romance, just the way this book is written, is so good. Like, I have not been obsessed with a book like this, not even Love in Other Words, which is like my favorite book ever. I don't think I've been obsessed with a series this long. Like, this writing in this book, just the characters, the plot, the sadness, like everything in this was so good. And that's pretty much all I have to say, you guys. I would rate this a 5 star. So that's pretty much all that I read for the month of September. I am currently reading The King of Pride by Anna Wong. I'm not done yet, so I can't really review it, but I am pretty excited to talk about all the books that I read today. And if you guys have read any of these books, or please let me know what's your favorite book that you read in the month of September. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.
Ooh, I'm gonna pull up shawty to the side. She keep coming at me every day and night. When I left